Time now to review headlines in today's newspapers with Ombudsman of This Day and Arise Media Group and This Day Newspaper Limited's Group Executive Director, Kayode Komolafe. Good morning, KK.
Yeah,
Merry Christmas to you.
Morning, KK.
Merry Christmas, Steve.
Merry Christmas, Mr. Komolafe.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you, yeah.
All right, we go straight into the newspaper review. We start with This Day on Sunday. The lead story here says, with 8 weeks to presidential election, race too close to call. Atiku, Tinubu, Obi, Kwakwanso battle on for role of king and kingmakers. Critical Northwest Titans. And on top of that, at Christmas, Buhari urges Nigerians to elect those who will sustain his legacy. Jonathan, Atiku, Lawan, Gbajabiamila, Tinubu, Obi, governors, PDP preach peace. On top of that is an announcement. See the e-copy of This Day Style on www.thisdaylife.com. A lot of people might not know that they can actually see the entire This Day Style.
Very important, yeah.
Very important, exactly. So you can click on that and you will see all the lovely pictures and stories. On top of the masthead, federal government raises third-party vehicle insurance by 200%. That story is on page 47. For those who use a third party, it's moving from 5,000, I believe, to 15,000 now. Everything climbing up. And on the window, my best appears not appreciated by some Nigerians. President declares. That was what we were discussing earlier on, before you came, KK. And the rider says he won't miss Aso Rock after leaving office. Insists Jubril from Sudan claim not a funny joke. That's in the documentary for the 80th birthday of the president. Those are the stories on the cover of This Day. KK.
Yeah, I think it will be in order to look at the photo on the front page of This Day, and to join others to say happy birthday to the president.
To the president.
Yeah,
that's right.
And that will be in order. The president is 80.
Yes.
Yes.
And by the time he will be celebrating his 81st birthday, he will be referred to as a former president. So we say happy birthday to Mr. President.
We talked about the fact that it might be an Owambe party last week, and we see that it's not an Owambe party.
KK Oji wanted an Owambe for the president at 80.
Yes, but you see, they're all wearing blue here. Is it
coincidence?
Or
Are you now talking of Ashebi?
That's one of the...
I see the reasoning. I see the reasoning.
Maybe our colleagues, Femi Adesina and Garba Shehu will have to enlighten us on why the Ashebi was not extended to us.
Yes.
So it's happy birthday to Mr. President.
Happy birthday.
I think the front pages, generally dominated by the Christmas mood, and also, of course, naturally by politics, and the state of the economy. I think the lead story of This Day on Sunday, I think it captures, the reading of many informed pundits, and that's to say that with 2 months still, to the election, that the race is too close to call. What it means is that between now and February, when the elections will be held, a lot is still possible, given the dynamics, and also the balance of forces, And don't forget that the field will now be more active. The political field will be more active from January. People who have been slow in the campaign, in the mobilization, and also in the formation of various alliances. So what it means that it might be premature, for anybody to jump into certain conclusion, because a lot of possibilities that will still take place, And and that is why, maybe those who be busy with polls, they may have to do more polls, in January and possibly, early February to be able to get the clear picture. But what is not in doubt now is that you have clear front runners, for them, as listed, by this day. But then there are even some people who are still, some pundits who still believe that, you could still have, some forces, coming up, that could also be, constitute, another force, to the four, to the four front runners, But then the real story of today, my own view is the reflection of Mr. President, And in this one, I think a clarification, because if you read in context the quoted part of the video, the president did not say that he has failed. Of course, it would be strange for him to say that. Yes, he didn't say that he has failed. And I think that Israel should be commended, for being modest. He said that he's done his best, but he's also conscious of the fact, which is the truth, that many Nigerians, still believe that best is not good enough. Not that it's bad, that it is good, but it's not good enough. And just like I was saying, I was watching when you were discussing the issues. For instance, if you talk of the security situation, see what is happening in Kaduna State.
Yes.
For instance, and you can talk about other stuff. Of course, it will be out of variance with reality. To say that the best has been done in the security sector. Only last night I was watching on Arise another very troubling story. A community, in Enugu State, Amugu, and saying that hundreds of people have been killed, But in this time around, because of a boundary dispute between Enugu and Benue State, all these are issues, that are within the remit, of the security authorities. So, what the review of the president, because what I'm saying is that we have to put this in context of the fact that the same president earlier in the year, when he was in Imo State, at least to commission some projects, made a very profound statement. I remember, live, on television, he said, counting what he regarded as the achievement of his administration, especially in the realm of infrastructural, development. And he said that all these things, that those who are supposed, to tell the story are not telling the story, and I didn't know why it was being
That's
so
true.
hard.
He said that, yeah.
So I'm just saying that, so the same person, you don't expect him to say that, he has failed with that. And of course, the truth, of it is that, if strip things of hyper criticism, which I think is in this season now, that if people don't, or if people don't talk all as, for political publicists, for his opponents, it's natural for them not to concede that anything good, has been done, but for more objective and not biased analysis, I think put in proper context, you can actually see that he has achieved, his administration has achieved in certain sectors, certain things in certain sectors, but like he himself has said, that those achievements are not considered, good enough, legitimately, by Nigerians who are supposed to be the judge, So, well, maybe it's too early, to say that the final verdict is passed. After all, the ultimate verdict will be passed, by a posterity.
Okay.
Well, can we piggyback on what you said about the Buhari administration? If you look at the Guardian newspaper, the lead story there, let's rejoice. Set aside our differences, Buhari tells Nigeria. The writers there says government has made advances on security. Can we say that to be true? On economic front, especially infrastructure. We have seen infrastructure, right, Steve? Food security, can we say that to be true? So you were talking about, the government has, done well in some areas. From this rider, which part would you say to be true, Mr. Komolafe?
Yes, what I'm saying is that in this matter, we should be contextual, and also realize that we're dealing with contradictions, It is not, the story is not a linear one. For instance, it would be wrong to say that there has not been advances in the security sector. In the last few weeks, the armed forces, the security people, they have made advance, in decimating, the bandits and the terrorists. This is true. And don't forget that while you're doing, while we're also, talking this, it's also at the cost, of human lives. A number of soldiers have been killed. Security men, have been killed. Police have been killed. Which is the purpose of this remembrance. This that we're having this week, which to me, many Nigerians are not even appreciating, showing solidarity, many people have been killed, So advances have been made, but just like it was observed, on this program, earlier, that when you look at what is happening in southern Kaduna, happening in certain, parts of Benue State, even still in some parts of the northeast, even in Bruno, that you cannot say that it's been solved. But to say that there hasn't been any advance, let me give an example. A fortnight ago, I was in Maiduguri, and I was shocked, like other people that were, at the invitation of the Northeast Development Commission, I was shocked because all of us said when going, on the way to Maiduguri, there was fear that how would the place look like? No, but I was surprised that even up till about 10 p.m. was still, on the streets, and like Governor Zulum then later was, telling us that, of course. And jokingly that that Maiduguri is even safer than where many of us were coming from, But there was a time. Yes, what I'm saying. There was a time. There was a time that, for instance, if you are invited to Maiduguri, some years back, that you will not want to go unless you are embedded. You are an embedded. Journalists, So what I'm saying is that it would be wrong to say that there hasn't been any advance at the security level. But the truth also is that it is not enough. That Nigeria, the Nigerian space, cannot be said to be fully secure. That we still have serious issues of security. And that is to me to have a judicious, and balanced assessment. What I'm saying is that we should be wary of talking like a political publicist. Okay. You get it? So, if a PDP man or a Labour Party man is talking, it's a different matter, But if analysts are talking, the tone, it should be different, because we are looking at, the whole picture. Looking at the picture and looking at the contradictions, looking at the plus, and minuses.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to
so the narrative, it would be wrong to give just a negative narrative, just as it would be illusory to say that there is no problem. Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Komolafe, we're going on a short break, but I'm going to read through the stories on The Guardian, and when we come back from that break, we'll discuss the stories. Now, on food security, FACAN tells politicians to stop playing politics with food security. We'll discuss that as well. And Tinubu's message on the rider there to Christians. Christians, non-Christians must reflect upon God's love for mankind. President has worsened Nigeria's situation, failed country woefully, says Human Rights Writers Association of Nigeria. Politicians have abdicated their core responsibilities to the people, says Bishop Martins. High inflation rate, worsening insecurity, compounding nations' woes, says Bishop Chukwuma. And the picture story there are scenes from markets in Lagos and Abuja where prices of livestock have hit the rooftop. Mr. Komolafe, a lot of stories there. Abi, you take us to break.
Yes, we'll be back shortly and we'll have a lot more for you. Stay with us.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Okay, so Oji, we were on The Guardian.
Yes, we were on The Guardian.
Yes, and I think, KK, what would be your general assessment of, because it looks a bit gloomy.
Yes,
it does.
It's a grim picture, and I think it's not only the Guardian that generally in the season, that it's like the standard story. It is, you say, bleak
Christmas. And you
So,
will know because you have been casting headlines
exactly,
for
and I'm saying that,
decades,
and I'm saying that,
right?
in a way, this says something about what we are dealing with as a country. And that
Okay,
is
can we focus on food security?
Yes,
though,
no,
on
we
this
can
one?
all could be all encompass, and that's why I want to respond to all of them. That
Yes.
that shows that that the crisis of underdevelopment, that we have been grappling with, for decades now, that we are far from resolving it. That is what it means, Now let me break that one down. I'm saying that in my adult life, and it's because since I've been in journalism, for decades now, and I cannot remember any Christmas when newspapers carry this and go, this is bright Christmas, that all,
That is sad.
Yes, I'm saying that it has all be, bleak Christmas. For decades, I'm talking of 20, 20, 30, even 30 years, 40 years. That it's always been. So that I'm saying that says something, that we are dealing with a crisis of underdevelopment, and that is simplified by the fact that society is defined by poverty, mass poverty and inequality. Because just like Cardinal Onayeko said on this here on Arise yesterday, when you give all this picture, it is not everybody that is affected. There are people that it is really bright, a Christmas that they will get all that they want to eat, or to celebrate, must have had good shopping and the rest. But then, like he said, that is just a tiny minority, of the people. That for majority of the people, those basic things that could make, life, to be comfortable, to be happy, that they do not have it. So I'm saying that it's not a new story, and that what should worry us, is that, for year after year, it's always, bleak Christmas. That means that we are here to solve, that fundamental problem, of underdevelopment. Now, to talk of food security, if you go and check, the headlines 10 years ago, 20 years ago, it's the same issue that we had. So it just shows, that we have not solved it, And that is coming back to what President Buhari said. That much as every administration, whether military or civilian, will claim that it has done its best, that best, has not been able to, address, the fundamental problem. So what is stated there, the newspapers are not lying. It's obvious. It is what the reality there on the street. People go to the market, people in various homes, that is the reality that they are they are dealing with. It is not everybody who is having the kind of Christmas lunch every maybe Christian home that they desire, this afternoon. So that reality, cannot be denied.
Well, some don't even have a lunch at all.
Although some don't even have, and that maybe those will be in majority, and that is the reality of our country. But like I said, I will align with Cardinal Onayeko say that we should not forget that, especially we are talking of Christmas, that this is a season of hope, that we should not, focus. That is, in the way we, project. In our projections and discussion, that we should not give a projection of hopelessness. That we should still, as a people, that there is need to actually keep hope alive. Which is the message of this season.
Okay, that's a very interesting note, but now we're moving from that to another gloomy headline on the Sunday Punch, which is now in relation to unpaid salaries. Varsity lecturers, Zamfara workers, Abia doctors celebrate Christmas in anguish. We have the writers here. Delta pensioners lament Konwa to sue federal government in January. Nigerians celebrating Christmas in pain, hardship, better days ahead, says Buhari. It's good to know that this is not just sensationalism, as KK is saying, but these are the headlines. that we're seeing.
Yeah, yes. No, I'm not saying that it's sensationalism. No, I'm not saying it's sensationalism. I'm saying that is the reality that is being reflected. But I'm saying that even we are doing that,
we should try not to make it a hopeless situation.
The situation is not hopeless. You get it? I'm not saying. I mean, it's reality. I mean, if people, like this story says, if people are not paid their salaries, and the families are not happy, it is the reality. It's not nobody. The newspaper is not sensationalizing by pointing that. But I'm saying that we should not promote a picture of hopelessness. That's what I'm saying. And again, the Punch story also is important, to dwell on that. That from the Punch story, you could also see that, like the unpaid salaries in this case, there are state governments that are not paying salary, But in our review of things, the focus is just only on the federal government, Everything is President Buhari, But in this case, nobody is mentioning the names of the governors of the state that are not paying. So when we do this review, appreciation, all the problem begins and ends with the Buhari. But I'm saying that apart from the federal government of Buhari, we have 36 other sub-national governments, which are governments on their own, elected. They are not prefects. They are not appointees of Buhari. They got mandate from their own people, their own constituents, just as Buhari got mandate, from the whole of Nigeria, But it's got like when we make this review, we are not taking these people to task. I mean, we talk only about the federal government budget. Nobody talks about the governments of the 36 state governments. If you put them together, that means put and when you talk of the revenue allocation, the state government, the local government, they have about 48% of the allocation. So I'm just saying that we should be holistic, so that we'll be able to make a judicious, And I still insist that why not accusing anybody of sensationalism, that we should not give a picture of hopelessness. That the Nigerian case is not hopeless. I'm saying this on the fact that I'm a Nigerian optimist. That we should even while we're having the problem, we should promote a clear, optimistic outlook. That is the point I'm making.
All right. Yeah. Okay, so we move on to Sunday Vanguard, and as you will have guessed, it's not totally different, from what we have been talking about. Vanguard here, gave a lot of attention to the president's story, and it says Buhari opens up on death claim. Jubri from Sudan says it wasn't a funny joke. Why I won't miss Aso Rock. Admits is best not good enough. This is, Vanguard also, capturing that, in the way that they understood it. Family, friends eulogize him at 80. And then he now says, bleak Christmas. That's the second lead. As insecurity, high cost of living, others mar celebrations. That's the second lead for, in the Sunday Guardian. A few other stories. Still on the Christmas one, president, governors can. Others preach love, tolerance. But a few other stories outside of the Yuletide Christmas story. Odua Nation, Afenifere lambasts Southwest governors. That's on page 7. And I think that they were more particular about the governor of Ondo State.
Of my state, yeah.
Akeredolu said something against the Yoruba Nation, agitation.
They're very unfair to my governor.
And then another story on page 5, kidnapped Ondo, still on your state, kidnapped Ondo businessman killed after ransom payment. Freed wife fingers mechanic, if the wife, fingers the mechanic. And then on top of the story, Buhari damning report on governors, others. 3 options to save local government. And that's like a special report by Sunday Vanguard. And the interest of the president on making sure that the local government, is not relegated, because it's an autonomous, it ought to be an autonomous tier of government on its own. And the president has always been hammering on that. However, it doesn't look like he's been able to change anything much. Yet another story on page 7, sit at home, insecurity destroying Southeast, Ohanaeze laments. I think those will be the key stories that we can look at in today's Sunday Vanguard.
Yeah, thank you, Steve. Yeah, Just still, on a general note, let me just reiterate that,
yes,
that the newspaper has reflected the reality. As it is. I mean, there's no distortion, about it. But I also still insist that we should be careful, not to project the Nigerian situation as a hopeless one. That there's hope. There is hope, and that it's not as if all that is happening is bad. That a lot of good things are also happening in Nigeria. So that one, is eminently suitable for a debate. Depending on that. So,
yes, but not as they affect Christmas, because
yes. What I'm saying that from the optimistic outlook, of things, that it's not as if it's a hopeless situation that there's hope. But specifically, let me just draw on the president's birthday clip,
yes,
that has been widely reported. The
Jubilee from Sudan.
The Jubilee from Sudan thing, Again, that says something, about, the low culture, of the social media, and the lack of humanity, the shallowness and the ignorance of people, like the president said, in the last few years, I'm surprised when I see people who are otherwise very informed, who actually believe that kind of
who cite social media reports.
Reports. Even in the mainstream, that the president was cloned. What I'm coming to here is that to talk about the literacy of it, experts. If you talk to experts, you see how laughable it is. Because to say that you clone an organism, biologically. It does not make sense that you clone an organism today, and then it then develops into a full-blown,
But KK, why would the president take this kind of a thing so seriously? Didn't he realize that it was like a political attack on him?
But I'm saying that is wrong. That is wrong. I'm saying that it's not just political attack on him. That there are people who, otherwise informed people, who actually believe it, who actually orchestrate it.
It's a morbid joke, actually.
It's a morbid joke.
Yes. I sympathize with him. You could see his agony. What I'm saying is, apart from his agony, that what I'm even concerned about is not even the president's response. That many people actually believe it,
yes.
And I'm saying that it is nonsensical. It does not even make a scientific sense.
I don't think many people believed it.
No, people believed it.
I think those who are trumpeting that thing,
yes,
they were part of the attack targeting, the president.
No, I've spoken to a lot of people, especially in the diaspora. They all say the same thing.
A lot of people believe it. That is the thing.
Yes, they did believe that story.
Yes,
and I agree with Oji. It's a very morbid joke.
Yes.
You don't talk about the life of another human being. In such a very, in a very familiar manner. It's a very bad joke.
Mr. Komolafe, I hope you're going to have a great Christmas today. Can we come and have some jollof?
No, I think I would rather come to you.
Okay,
jollof and chicken.
It's just down the road. We have jollof.